Have you ever reached a point where you are so completely exhausted that even the thought of resting feels like an exhausting task? It is that heavy, modern weight where your bones feel tired, your thoughts feel sluggish, and you look at your to-do list with a sense of quiet defeat. You are not just tired from a long day or a poor night of sleep. You have hit a wall of deep depletion. If you are sitting here right now, feeling like you have absolutely nothing left to give, I want you to know that you are not alone, and you do not have to try so hard anymore. Before we take a deep breath together and explore how to gently bring your body back to a state of safety, let us create a collective space of intention. Take a moment right now to leave an affirmation in the comments below. Typing out, "I give myself permission to rest without explanation." Let that be your first step toward healing today. When you are this depleted, your entire system feels like it is running on the absolute last drop of fuel. You might find yourself staring blankly at a wall, or sitting in your car for 20 minutes after arriving home, unable to find the energy to grab your keys and walk inside. Every small request from the outside world feels like an overwhelming mountain. This is your nervous system shouting in silence, signaling that the threshold of what you can bear has been crossed. It is a state where traditional advice like "just think positive" or "go for a jog" feels completely detached from your reality. You need something different right now. Not another task, but a profound permission to stop. It is a quiet, heavy loneliness that settles in when you realize you have nothing left to give, yet the world keeps asking for more. You look around, and everyone else seems to be moving at a normal speed, while you are dragging yourself through water just to get through a simple conversation. You smile when you are supposed to smile. You nod when you are supposed to nod. But inside, you feel completely disconnected from your own life. It is like you are watching yourself from far away, wondering how much longer you can keep up the act. Your heart feels heavy, not necessarily with sadness, but with the pure weight of survival. You try to remember the last time you felt truly safe, truly at peace, but your mind is too clouded by the endless noise of demands. It is the fear that if you let go, even for a second, everything will fall apart around you. So you keep pushing, keep holding your breath, keep telling yourself that you just need to get through this week, or this month, or this project. But the truth is, your body cannot live on promises anymore. It needs you to listen right now, in this exact moment, before the quiet protest becomes a painful stop. It is okay to admit that you are tired, deeply and completely tired, and it is okay to let the weight drop to the floor. Think about how many times you have ignored the small warning signs, the tight jaw when you wake up, the constant shallow breathing, the sudden flash of frustration over something tiny. Those were your system's ways of asking for a break, but you told it to wait. Or perhaps you tried to sit quietly, but your inner voice kept telling you that you are falling behind, True recovery begins only when we abandon the desperate need to fix ourselves and instead offer our bodies an honest, non-judgmental acknowledgement of our current exhaustion. It is about shifting away from the demand to perform and moving toward a gentle willingness to simply sit with what is. When we are completely empty, our mind panics because it doesn't know how to exist without a purpose. We have been conditioned to believe that our value is tied directly to our ability to solve problems, to mend what is broken, and to keep moving forward no matter the cost. So, when your body finally collapses under the weight of total depletion, your first thought isn't, how can I love myself through this? Your first thought is, how can I make this go away so I can get back to work? We treat our own living, breathing bodies like a machine that has temporarily broken down on the side of the road. We want to lift the hood, twist a few dials, change a part, and get back on the highway. But you are not a machine. You cannot engineering hike your way out of deep emotional and physical bankruptcy. The internal panic that arises when you try to rest is a quiet, painful thing. You sit down, but your mind is still sprinting. It tells you that if you take this afternoon off, you will be letting people down. It tells you that you are being lazy or selfish, or that you are falling behind some imaginary timeline of where your life should be. This is the fix-it trap. It makes us believe that relaxation is just another task we need to check off our list. We find ourselves trying to breathe deeply, not to care for ourselves, but to force our heart rate down so we can handle the next crisis. We try to take a warm bath or sit in a quiet room, but the entire time, our thoughts are weaponized against us, calculating how much time we are losing. This isn't rest. It is just a different, quieter form of internal combat. True healing requires a terrifying kind of surrender. It asks you to look at the mess, to look at the exhaustion, and to say, I am not going to try to fix this today. I am just going to let it be broken. It means looking at your unfinished tasks, your unanswered messages, and the expectations of the world, and choosing to let them sit there in the dust while you tend to the fire that has gone out inside you. This shift is incredibly painful because it forces us to confront the uncomfortable question of who we are when we aren't being useful. If you aren't producing, if you aren't helping, if you aren't holding everything together, who are you? Moving beyond this mindset means learning to stop bargaining with your fatigue. It means stopping the internal voice that says, if I just sleep for 4 hours, then I can get back up and finish this. Instead, you must learn to look at your tired spirit with the same tenderness you would offer a crying child. You wouldn't look at a weeping, exhausted child and hand them a spreadsheet or a time management app. You wouldn't tell them to think more positively or to optimize their sleep schedule. You would simply pull them close, hold them in the quiet, and let them know that they don't have to do anything right now to deserve your love. You need to become that comforting presence for yourself. You need need to let the fixer inside you lay down their tools, walk out of the room, and close the door, leaving only space for your heavy heart to finally beat at its own slow, natural pace. Your physical body possesses a profound, ancient wisdom that operates entirely beneath your conscious awareness. When you refuse to slow down voluntarily, your nervous system will eventually make the choice for you. It initiates a quiet protest, turning down the volume on your energy levels to protect you from further strain. This state of profound exhaustion is actually an intelligent survival mechanism. It is your body dropping its anchors to keep you from drifting further out into a storm of chronic burnout. When we understand this, we can stop viewing our tiredness as a failure and start viewing it as a form of protection. To deepen our understanding of this dynamic, it is helpful to look at how our internal landscape reflects our external choices. The legendary psychologist Carl Jung famously observed, "The body is the faithful counterpart of the soul, and it shows clearly when the energy has been blocked or misdirected." When we transition our perspective to match this insight, we begin to realize that our physical depletion is a visible manifestation of energy that has been completely misaligned for far too long. You have likely spent months or even years pouring your vital energy into external demands, neglecting the internal reservoir that sustains you. Your body is not failing you. It is faithfully showing you that the path you were walking is no longer sustainable. Think about the quiet moments when your body tries to talk to you. Moments we so easily dismiss because we are too busy trying to keep up with life. It starts with a subtle heaviness in your eyelids halfway through the afternoon, or a sudden, unexplained ache in your back that wasn't there that morning. It is the way your chest feels tightly restricted when you think about your endless schedule, or how your stomach knots up before you even step through the front door of your workplace. These are not random inconveniences or flaws in your anatomy. They are the initial, gentle whispers of your nervous system, begging you to pause. But because we live in a world that praises constant movement, we learn to ignore the whispers. We take another sip of caffeine, push through the discomfort, and force our physical selves to comply with the rigid demands of our minds. When you continuously ignore the whispers, the body has no choice but to start screaming. That screaming doesn't come in words. It comes in the form of a total physical shutdown. Suddenly, you wake up and your limbs feel like lead, as if gravity has pulled you down twice as hard into the mattress. You try to clear your mind, but a thick fog has rolled in, making it impossible to form a coherent thought or hold on to a fleeting memory. This total collapse is your body's ultimate act of love for you, even if it feels like a betrayal. It is a boundary that your mind was too afraid to set, so your physical self had to step in and set it for you. It is the body saying, "If you will not stop on your own, I will make you stop." There is a profound sadness in realizing how disconnected we can become from the very vessel that carries us through this life. We treat our bodies like an adversary to be conquered, a stubborn opponent that needs to be disciplined and pushed past its limits. We get angry when it gets sick. We feel guilty when it demands sleep. And we feel ashamed when it can no longer carry the heavy weight we have piled onto its shoulders. But your body is the only home you will ever truly have. It has been keeping score of every single piece of stress, every unexpressed tear, and every boundary you let someone cross just to keep the peace. When we look closely at this quiet protest, we can begin to melt the anger we feel toward our own fatigue. You are not weak because you are tired. You are not failing because your energy has completely vanished. Your physical system is simply doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is saving your life from your own relentless expectations. It is forcing a sacred pause into a life that has been moving much too fast. If you can sit quietly with this exhaustion right now, you might hear what your body is actually trying to say. It isn't telling you that you are broken. It is gently whispering that it loves you too much to let you keep destroying yourself for things that do not truly matter. It is asking you to finally come home, to step out of the storm of doing, and to trust the quiet wisdom of your own design. Depletion rarely happens because of one single event. It is the result of an invisible load that accumulates over time, the constant anticipation of problems, the management of daily logistics, and the emotional weight of holding things together for everyone around you. Consider the sheer volume of choices you have to make from the moment you open your eyes. You are navigating traffic, managing conversations, filtering through an endless stream of digital notifications, and constantly adjusting your expectations. Each of these requires a small amount of nervous system bandwidth, and when there is no recovery, the bank account runs dry. Reflect on how often you carry conversations home with you, replaying interactions in your head while trying to unwind. Or think about the physical tension you carry in your shoulders while simply sitting at a desk or driving down the street. We are constantly bracing ourselves against the world, preparing for the next demand before it even arrives. This habitual state of preparation keeps our sympathetic nervous system active, continuously pumping out stress responses even when we are technically at rest. To calm this pattern, we must first recognize just how much invisible weight we have been carrying, without ever giving ourselves credit for it. It is the weight of the things that no one else sees, the silent responsibilities that never show up on a visible calendar, but consume every ounce of your internal peace. It is the mental script running in the background of your mind while you are trying to eat lunch, reminding you of the person you forgot to text back, the appointment you still need to schedule, and the hidden conflict you need to smooth over. We live in a culture that measures burden by what can be physically held or counted, but the heaviest packages we carry are the ones made of pure thought and quiet worry. You are carrying the moods of the people around you, trying to read the energy of a room the moment you walk into it, making sure everyone else feels comfortable, safe, and happy, while you slowly disappear into the background. This invisible load is incredibly lonely because you cannot easily point to it and ask for help. If you had a broken leg or a visible injury, people would immediately rush to carry your things, tell you to sit down, and bring you comfort. But when your spirit is fractured by the sheer volume of daily survival, you look completely fine on the outside. You walk through the grocery store, you finish your tasks, and you pay your bills. But inside, your mind is drowning in a sea of microscopic decisions. What should I make for dinner? How can I phrase this message so it doesn't sound too blunt? Did I upset someone with what I said yesterday? How will we afford the next unexpected expense? These thoughts are like tiny drops of water falling on a stone. A single drop does nothing, but 1,000,000 drops over a lifetime will eventually erode the strongest rock. Think of the exhausting amount of energy it takes to constantly keep your guard up. From the moment your morning alarm goes off, you are stepping onto an unseen battlefield of expectations. You are filtering out the noise of a crowded world, trying to stay calm when everything around you feels chaotic, and putting on a brave face so that the people who depend on you don't see how close you are to breaking. You carry the unspoken grief of your past, the terrifying uncertainty of your future, and the deep pressure to be a good person, a reliable worker, and a supportive presence. You have become an expert at holding your breath, tightening your stomach, and pushing through the discomfort just to make it to the end of the day. We never give ourselves credit for this immense internal labor. We sit on the edge of the bed at night, feeling utterly shattered, and we scold ourselves for not doing more. We look at our fatigue as a personal defect instead of a natural response to an unnatural amount of constant pressure. To begin to heal, you have to look at this invisible pile of heavy stones you have been carrying and acknowledge the sheer weight of what you have survived. It is time to stop pretending that this load costs you nothing. It has cost you your vitality, your joy, and your peace. Healing your nervous system means standing in the quiet of this moment, looking at that massive mountain of hidden expectations, and gently setting it down on the ground. You were never meant to carry the weight of the whole world alone, and it is safe to finally let your hands go soft. To truly rest a depleted nervous system, we must practice the difficult art of transitioning from a state of constant doing to a state of simple being. For most of us, our self-worth is deeply intertwined with our output. We feel valuable only when we are producing, helping, or accomplishing tasks. Consequently, when we stop doing things, we experience an underlying sense of anxiety or worthlessness. But your nervous system cannot regenerate while it is being measured against a standard of productivity. It requires spaces that are entirely free from goals, expectations, and metrics. Imagine a day where an hour is spent without any specific purpose. Not an hour dedicated to self-care, not an hour spent learning a new skill, but an hour where you simply sit on a chair and look out the window, watching the rain fall or the clouds move. This feels intensely uncomfortable at first because our environment demands constant engagement. Yet, it is precisely in these purposeless spaces that the nervous system begins to realize the emergency is over. When there is nothing to achieve, the body can finally lower its guard and allow the heart rate to settle naturally. Think about how deeply rooted this addiction to movement really is. Even when we claim we are resting, we secretly try to turn our relaxation into a project. We don't just sit. We try to practice a technique perfectly, or we read an educational article to improve our minds, or we listen to something just to check it off our list of personal development goals. We are terrified of emptiness. We treat an open, unbooked hour like a blank canvas that we are failing to paint. The moment your hands become still, a cold wave of panic washes over you, whispering that you are wasting your life, that you are being lazy, or that you are falling behind everyone else. This internal friction is a sign of how deeply we have been conditioned to believe that we only deserve to exist if we are working. It is a painful realization to see how much of your life has been spent performing for an invisible audience. You have spent years turning yourself into an instrument for other people's comfort, an engine that keeps the machinery of your daily life running smoothly. But what happens when the engine runs out of oil? What happens when the instrument can no longer make music? If you only love yourself when you are being useful, then your rest will always feel like a betrayal. You will sit on the couch, but your muscles will remain tight, bracing for the guilt that you know is coming. You have to learn the terrifying beauty of being completely useless for a little while. You have to look at your tired spirit and say, even if I accomplish absolutely nothing for the rest of this day, I still deserve to breathe. I still deserve to hold space in this world. Let yourself imagine what it feels like to truly drop the armor of efficiency. It means allowing your focus to break apart, letting your mind wander without dragging it back to a productive thought. It is the simple act of letting your body melt into whatever is holding you up right now, feeling the heavy, solid pressure of the seat beneath you, and realizing that the earth is carrying you without you needing to do a single thing to earn it. The world will not collapse if you step out of the race for an afternoon. The tasks will wait. The problems will remain. But your soul cannot survive if it is constantly treated like a business to be managed. When you allow yourself to step out of the doing mindset, something beautiful and heavy begins to happen. The initial anxiety starts to run out of steam. The frantic voice in your head that demands you get up and fix something eventually gets tired of screaming into the silence. In that quiet space, your nervous system finally gets the message it has been waiting for. There is no danger here. There is no one to please, nothing to defend, and nowhere else I need to be. This is where the true medicine is. It isn't in a special routine or a complicated exercise. It is in the simple, brave choice to stop pretending you are an endless source of energy. It is looking at your reflection and allowing yourself to just be a human being, soft and tired, resting in the quiet sanctuary of your own heartbeat. When we are completely exhausted, a lot of uncomfortable emotions tend to bubble up to the surface. We might feel deep sadness, intense irritation, or an overwhelming sense of grief. Often we try to push these feelings away because they seem inconvenient or frightening. We want to be the version of ourselves that is always pleasant, capable, and energetic. However, suppressing the emotions that come with fatigue only consumes more of our limited energy reserves. Embracing our exhaustion means allowing ourselves to be messy, tired, and incomplete for a while. This necessity of facing our authentic, unpolished state brings to mind another essential principle of self-discovery. Carl Jung noted, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." When we transition our attention to this truth, we understand that true healing cannot occur if we only accept ourselves when we are strong. We must also welcome the shadow of our fatigue, the part of us that is grumpy, overwhelmed, and completely done with trying. By acknowledging this hidden side of our experience without judgment, we stop fighting against ourselves and allow our inner friction to dissolve into genuine rest. Think about the sheer, exhausting effort it takes to hide your true state from the world and from yourself. We treat our heavy, dark moods like a personal failure. When the fatigue sets in, it brings along its friends, a sudden wave of anger when someone asks a harmless question, a deep pool of tears that comes out of nowhere while staring at a glass of water, or a cold sense of resentment toward the people we love most. Instead of listening to these feelings, we panic. We tell ourselves we are being ungrateful, or difficult, or bad. We try to force a smile over the cracks, pushing the darkness down deeper into our bodies. But those heavy emotions are not defects. They are the voice of your tired spirit, crying out because it has been neglected for far too long. When you refuse to look at the shadow of your exhaustion, you create a civil war inside your own skin. One part of you is desperately trying to survive, while the other part is standing over it with a whip, demanding that it look happy and productive. This internal conflict eats away at the tiny shred of energy you have left. Letting the shadow in means calling a truce. It means sitting on the floor and saying to your anger, your grief, and your cold indifference, you are welcome here. You can stay as long as you need to. It means allowing yourself to be the person who doesn't have a kind word for anyone right now. The person who doesn't care about the future today. The person who just wants to weep for all the times they had to be strong when they felt like breaking. There is an incredible, liberating relief in letting yourself be temporarily ruined. You don't have to keep the pieces held together with tape and string. It is okay if the house of cards falls down. We spend our lives terrified of the darkness inside us. But the darkness of fatigue is often just an unlit room where we are finally allowed to take off our masks. When you stop fighting the heavy feelings, you stop wasting the energy it takes to pretend. You let your face go completely blank. You let your shoulders drop, and you let the tears fall without trying to wipe them away or figure out exactly what they mean. By making this exhaustion and its messy emotional baggage conscious, you stop running from yourself. You realize that your dark moments do not make you a bad person. They make you a human being who has reached their absolute limit. This shadow is not your enemy. It is the protective wall that keeps the rest of the world out while you heal. When you honor the ugliness of burnout, the irritability, the sadness, the total lack of desire to try, you are finally offering yourself unconditional love. You are saying, I love myself even when I am empty, even when I have nothing beautiful to show the world. In that deep, messy acceptance, the internal tension begins to break apart, and the very darkness you were so afraid of turns into a soft, quiet blanket where your nervous system can finally rest without fear. When you are too tired to try anymore, big lifestyle changes feel completely impossible. You do not have the energy to overhaul your routine or start an elaborate wellness practice. The secret to regulating your nervous system in this state lies in reclaiming the smallest possible moments of safety throughout your day. These are tiny micro breaks that require absolutely zero effort, but send a direct signal to your brain that you are safe in this exact moment. They are small anchors dropped into a turbulent sea. A small, safe moment could be as simple as letting your exhale be twice as long as your inhale while you wait for water to boil. It could be placing both feet flat on the floor, feeling the solid weight of the ground beneath you, and acknowledging that for the next 60 seconds, you do not have to go anywhere. It could be wrapping a heavy blanket tightly around your shoulders and allowing your muscles to go completely limp against the cushions of a chair. These moments do not require you to fix your life. They simply invite you to inhabit your body safely for a single breath. When your spirit is fractured, thinking about a whole day or even a whole hour of relaxation can feel like a heavy burden. Your mind instantly creates a wall of resistance, wondering how you could possibly find the time or the space to truly heal when your world is demanding so much from you. That is why we must break peace down into tiny, microscopic pieces. You do not need an entire weekend of isolation to give your nervous system a moment of relief. You just need 5 seconds of radical honesty where you allow your body to completely register that right now, in this exact square inch of the universe, nothing is actively attacking you. Think about the simple, ignored acts of survival you perform every day without noticing them. It is the moment you wash your hands, feeling the temperature of the water move across your skin, and choosing to stay entirely with that warmth rather than planning your next sentence. It is the moment you sit down at a desk and, before turning on your computer, you allow your head to drop forward for 3 long breaths, letting the back of your neck release the invisible armor it has been holding since sunrise. It is leaning your back against a solid wall in a quiet hallway and letting the hard, unyielding structure take the weight of your spine, remembering that you do not have to hold yourself up entirely on your own. These tiny fragments of safety are quiet declarations of independence from a world that wants to consume you. They cost nothing. They take no time, and they require absolutely no emotional energy. They are built for the version of you that is so spent, so broken, that even the word healing sounds like a chore. You are just reclaiming the small spaces between the noise. When you are sitting at a red light, instead of gripping the steering wheel until your knuckles go white, you choose to let your fingers go soft and feel the fabric under your hands. When you lift a cup of warm tea or water to your lips, you stop and feel the steam touch your face before you take a sip. You are teaching your overstimulated brain that the world can wait for the length of a single heartbeat. We often underestimate these small shifts because we think big pain requires big solutions. But your nervous system doesn't understand grand plans. It understands immediate physical reality. It doesn't care about the vacation you have planned 3 months from now. It cares about whether you are holding your breath right now while reading a book or sitting on a chair. By actively claiming these micro moments of peace, you are slowly dripping water back into a dry well. You are telling your exhausted heart that it is allowed to take a break. even if it is only for the space of a single breath. You are building a quiet sanctuary out of the tiny, ordinary moments of your daily existence, proving to yourself that safety isn't something you have to travel far to find. It is something you can gently breathe into existence, right here, right now, exactly as you are. True restoration requires space, and space requires boundaries. When your nervous system is depleted, your capacity to process external input is severely compromised. This means you must become fiercely protective of your environment. Setting boundaries when you are exhausted does not mean having grand, confrontational conversations with people. It means making quiet choices to limit the amount of information and demand coming into your personal sphere. Think about the choices available to you. It means choosing to leave your phone in another room for an entire evening so you aren't tempted to look at notifications or respond to non-urgent messages. It means saying a gentle but firm no to an invitation, accepting that someone might be temporarily disappointed because your health requires it. It means allowing the phone to ring without answering it when you know you do not have the emotional capacity to hold space for another person's story. These quiet boundaries create a protective container around your nervous system, allowing it to heal without being constantly interrupted by new demands. When you are deeply empty, the thought of standing up for yourself can feel like an impossible battle. We often think that drawing a line means building a fortress, fighting off intrusion, or explaining ourselves until our throats are sore. But when you have nothing left to give, you do not have the strength for a fight. That is why your boundaries must become silent. They do not need to be announced, justified, or defended. A silent boundary is a quiet door you close between your exhausted spirit and the endless, demanding noise of the outside world. It is the simple recognition that your remaining energy is sacred, and you are allowed to build a wall around it to keep the remaining pieces of yourself safe. Think about how much of your daily exhaustion comes from the constant availability we grant to everyone else. We carry around devices that allow anyone, at any hour of the day, to drop their anxieties, their requests, and their expectations directly into our laps. We feel a quiet, panicky pressure to respond instantly, to soothe their worries, and to prove that we are dependable. But every time you say yes to an external demand, when your body is screaming for rest, you are saying a hurtful no to yourself. You are telling your own system that its survival is less important than someone else's immediate convenience. It is a slow betrayal that leaves your spirit fractured. Setting a boundary in the silence means letting the world wait without feeling the need to apologize for your absence. It means letting a text message sit unread for 2 days, not out of malice, but out of absolute necessity. It is the brave choice to look at an email notification and choose to walk away, allowing yourself to remember that your worth is not dictated by your responsiveness. It is telling a friend, "I love you, but I do not have the capacity to talk tonight." And then putting your phone on silent without checking to see how they reacted. You have to learn to sit with the temporary discomfort of potentially disappointing others so that you can stop permanently breaking yourself. This quiet protection is where your nervous system finally finds a true sanctuary. In the absence of incoming data, the frantic alarm bells in your chest can finally start to quiet down. When you step out of the loop of constant access, you create a soft, padded room where no one can touch you, judge you, or ask anything of you. It is a profound act of self-love to declare your life temporarily closed for maintenance. The world will keep spinning without your constant input. The people who truly love you will be there when the vehicle clears, and the responsibilities will still be waiting when your hands have recovered their strength. Right now, your only job is to protect the tiny spark of life left inside you. Let the silence be your shield. Let the closed door be your medicine, and let your absolute refusal to perform be the ground upon which you finally begin to heal. As your body begins to settle into this protective container, your recovery deepens when you practice grounded presence. This is the practice of bringing your awareness completely into your immediate physical surroundings, anchoring your mind away from past regrets and future worries. When we are depleted, our minds tend to wander into catastrophic thinking, projecting worst-case scenarios about our responsibilities. Grounded presence brings us back to the only place where healing actually occurs, the present moment. To understand the profound transformation that happens when we anchor ourselves in this manner, let us reflect on the ultimate goal of this inner work. Carl Jung described this journey beautifully when he wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Transitioning our focus to this wisdom allows us to realize that our current state of exhaustion is a chapter, not the whole story. By choosing to anchor ourselves in the present, we refuse to let past pressures dictate our future well-being. We choose, in this exact moment, to become someone who listens to their body, honors their limitations, and values their inner peace above the relentless demands of the world. When you are completely empty, your thoughts become a dangerous neighborhood to walk through alone. The mind, in its frantic attempt to find out why you feel so broken, starts digging up old failures, replaying arguments from months ago, or spinning terrifying stories about how you won't be able to handle tomorrow. It tells you that this exhaustion is permanent, that you have ruined your life, and that you will never find your way back to who you used to be. Grounded presence is the gentle, firm hand that reaches into that storm of panic and pulls you back into reality. It is a quiet reminder that the catastrophe your mind is writing isn't happening right here, right now, in this exact room, on this exact seat. You are just a person breathing in a quiet space. Think about how much energy we waste by living in moments that don't exist anymore, or moments that haven't even arrived. We carry the friction of yesterday's interactions like a heavy stone in our bellies, and we brace ourselves for next week's burdens before we've even finished today's sunset. This constant time travel keeps your nervous system in a state of high alert, running away from ghosts and fighting shadows. Grounded presence is the act of dropping your heavy bags and planting your feet firmly on the floor. It is choosing to look at the texture of the wall in front of you, feeling the cool air entering your nose, and listening to the ambient sounds of the room. You are building a bridge back to the physical world, reminding your body that the immediate environment is calm and safe. This shift in focus is a profound act of defiance against your anxiety. It is saying to the racing thoughts, I hear you, but right now I am choosing to feel the fabric of this blanket beneath my hands. I am choosing to watch the dust motes float in a beam of light. You are taking your power back from the invisible forces that have been draining you. You don't have to figure out the next 10 steps of your life when you are running on empty. You just have to navigate the next 60 seconds. You just have to inhabit your skin for one complete rise and fall of your chest. When you pull your scattered energy back from all the places it has been bleeding out into the world, your internal battery finally has a chance to start holding a charge again. Calming your nervous system when you are completely depleted is not a linear process that happens overnight. It is a slow, quiet return to yourself, built on a foundation of small, gentle choices. It is the realization that your value is not dependent on your usefulness to others, and that taking care of your body is a fundamental necessity. As you move forward from this space, remember that you do not have to rush back into the frantic pace of the world. You can choose to move more slowly, breathe more deeply, and live more intentionally. Let the heavy expectations go. Allow yourself to be a human being rather than a human doing. Trust that by honoring your exhaustion today, you are cultivating the deep, resilient strength you will need for tomorrow. Your nervous system knows exactly how to heal itself if you simply stop interfering and give it the quiet environment it requires. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears and allow yourself to rest. You have done enough, and for right now, that is more than enough. Let the silence fill the spaces where the panic used to live. Feel the simple, steady rhythm of your chest rising and falling, a constant reminder that you are alive, right here, right now, and that you are protected by your own boundaries. You have survived the heaviest parts of the night, and you are standing at the edge of a quiet dawn. There is no need to hurry into the light. Take your time. Move with the slow, deliberate grace of someone who has looked into the darkness of their own depletion and chosen to love themselves anyway. You are safe now. The emergency is over. You are finally, quietly coming home.